I'm just gonna let some people get up in here before I start the presentation. Let some people get up in before I start the presentation. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Peace, Sister Lane. Let me see something. Do I got this muted, man? It's like this is on too. Yeah, I guess it's like a little brief delay. All right, y'all. Shout out to everybody inside the chat room. Shout out to everybody. I need y'all to do me a favor. Press 1 if you can see my if you can see the screen. Everybody out there, just press 1 for me if y'all can see the screen good. I'm on the YouTube channel right now, so you see the YouTube page up. But I'm gonna go. We're gonna start from. Should we start from Columbus, man? Let me see something. Let me see something. Let me see. Reload that. Might be from here. I don't even know where to start from. I'm all discombobulated. All right, so first, right, so just dealing with the title itself. It's a new term that I hear a lot of people throwing around. ADS, ADOS, okay? American Descendant of Slaves, right? But what's kind of, and I'm not going to lie, black people starting to wake up on different levels. I think for some of these people, they got to go through different levels, man. And some of these people might just be agents anyway, right? So sometimes I go out there and I listen to so-called people who just pro-black or who just trying to help the black community, or who got any criticism, or people who talk against us or make like comments against when people say ADS, okay, ADOS, they talk about American Descendants of Slaves, okay. Now, even though we know about the diaspora, right, but we do know that different so-called parts of the diaspora was enslaved by totally different people outside of the English. So we know that the French, the Spanish, the British and the English is the motherfucking same, okay? But nonetheless, though, and there's other groups out there as well, but primarily the people who came here was the Portuguese, the Spanish, the French, and the English. And I like to start off, and this is for people who just come in here, because I mean, apparently I hope this video get a lot of views so people can be properly edified on what's really going on out here. Okay, so all right, so you got the French, Portuguese, Spain, and English, British. You also got the Dutch, and you got a couple other moving parts up in there. Some of the moving parts are connected with each other. Like you could say, like when they talk about the doomed devices, they talking about mainly the Portuguese and the Spanish or whatever. The French came here and did the same thing, but mainly, let me just get this to you just for opening, right? These people did not come here to bring slaves here, man. And this is just for anybody that's out there that's listening to this, right? We here in North America, when we work through that term ADOS, we're talking about North American descendant of slaves right here, where people come to right here. Okay, so you hear a lot of people throw that term around and just purely specifying us, because we know that there are a lot of different black people in North America. Some of them migrated, you know what I'm saying? Well, all of them migrated, I guess, eventually, if you really look at it, you know what I'm saying? But some of them had connections here. Like I would say, like the Haitians. The Haitians came from Louisiana. They was part of the Nazi. And I don't know why don't nobody know this shit. Like, how the fuck can why somebody threw that in my lap and no one knows about none of this stuff, man? You know what I'm saying? They don't know that the Nazi was taken to Santo Domingo from Nazi Louisiana or whatever. And like I said, that's some great works, man, that I definitely enjoy doing, about finding out about the French taking the Nazi, because you know the French was all up and down the Mississippi River, all up in Chicago, Illinois, Detroit. They came through the back when they came through. They didn't come through the Caribbean and went through and go through the Mississippi region through the Gulf. They came through the back through Canada, whoop, and went all the way down, and then they started getting familiar with certain tribes up and down that region. They enslaved some of them, and also they had alliances with some of them. All right, so but talking about the Americans. So when we talk about, North American. So they throw this term around, ADOS, basically to separate us from certain melanated immigrants that come here and speak for North Americans, Aborigines. Okay, now, like I said, like I fuck with everybody. Okay, I don't have no problem with black people in no other parts of the world. My only thing I have problems with is when black people come here and they know what happened to us here in this country. And a lot of them, like, some Africans come here, they didn't deal with slavery, and people from other parts come here that didn't deal with slavery. Now we know most of the diaspora came here, they had some dealings with slavery, even if you was in the Caribbean, even if you was, like I just mentioned the Haitians, Puerto Ricans, I guess the Dominicans and the Haitians would be the same. And you got the Barbadians, you got all of them out there, San Croix. Where that island where they get said this little ugly motherfucker from, 21 Savage. Damn, what the fuck is, Dominica. That was another island that was ran by the British. But you know what I'm saying? That's why they said that he got deported from Britain or whatever, however it goes. Nonetheless, so I don't even want to build upon that. But they throwing this term around. They're separating other so-called black melanated people in this country who like to come here and speak up for us, who thought this was one big kumbaya bash. But now, to the people who do call us ADS, this is what I'm ADOS. These are the people that I'm addressing, okay? Because, and shout out to Super Sly. And if you ain't subscribed to his channel, you know what I'm saying, definitely subscribe to the brother channel, Super Sly 75. He made a video on this. He just happened to beat me to it because I was trying to make it all week, but I had a lot of things to do, and I wasn't able to really do it in the next, because I had a lot of, like, I went back to school, man. So I got a statistics class that's very demanding, man. You know what I'm saying? And a finance class that's very demanding, and I'm just trying to, man, just stay afloat, man. I'm just trying to just get me a decent grade and keep it moving. There ain't nothing, like I said, I'm doing this pretty much for recreation. But nonetheless, though, right? He made a video which was a decent. He made some good talking points, and he basically put in what I've been telling people for years, that we are POWs. We are prisoners of motherfucking war. We are not no slaves, motherfucker. The word slave means Slav. The word Slav is a Slavonian group of people, okay? But there are other synonyms that's connected, or not synonyms, or, yeah, I want to say synonyms, words that got the same meaning, that's connected to that word, or what we assume that word slave means, put in bondage. basically stripped of your freedom, stripped of you. You become a servant. You're in permanent servitude. You're in peonage. Them are all the words that's related, or what we assume that the word slave mean, but we know that the word slave come from the word Slav, which is a Slovenian group of people. Okay, now let's get into this. All right. So this is we're gonna start here, man. We're gonna start here. Let me see something real quick. All right, let's see something real quick, man. Let me show y'all something. I don't know if I want to start here. I want to go here real quick. I'm gonna go up here. All right, so I'm gonna go right there. Let me see this one. Yeah. Excuse me, y'all. I'll be all over the place. And for those of you who come in here, I'm not Dr. Seuss. I do make grammatical errors occasionally, so just bear with me. But I definitely will get a learning about who the hell we are. Okay, about who the hell we are. We are POWs. Okay. All right. The sources here, even though that the sources are not, I want to say a primary source. This is all people who can track this stuff from different things, but this pretty much has the same thing. All right, we're gonna start from the first. Okay, we're not 88. We're not American descendants of slaves. We are basically American Indians. That's POWs, prisoners of war, who was took in bondage, who was basically we was forced to assimilate under threat, duress, and coercion. The whole thing that this whole system is about. Threat, duress, and coercion. Real quick, let me go back. I want to make sure y'all can see the screen. Let me see. Did y'all press one for me? All right, bet. All right, so where was I at? Oh, I was over here. All right. I'm gonna try not to make this video long, or I'm gonna come back and do a second part after I come back from the gym tonight. All right, so like I said, okay, this is what I think will happen here. Okay, I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. I'm still fixing together and piecing together different parts according to like research and other brothers who doing the research and listening to other and just a lot of the research that I've came across and throughout the period or durations that I've been recognizing myself as a aborigine of North America or the Americas period. All right. So first thing we're told about Columbus, right? Now, Columbus, right? When Columbus came here, Columbus did not bring no fucking Africans here. He had melanated people with him, which was the melanated people we had were, which we refer to as Moors. They was really the original inhabitants of Europe, or whatever the hell we want to call that landmass, because that will be North Africa, okay? North of Africa will be Europe, okay? If you look at where Turkey, Portuguese, Spain, and France is, it's right up the river. I mean, it's right next to Africa, okay? If you look at a map, or what we assume to be a map, and where they're telling us these locations is at, Spain is right on the top by Morocco. That's a fact. Spain is right there. Turkey is basically to the east north of Africa, where Syria and all that shit is at. Now, all of them was Negroes. All of the reason why them people look like they look, because them are mulattoes from the Moors bringing in Europeans and mating with them, which they created a whole nother race of fucking people as a result to that, right? Now, if you look, Italy is right next to Africa, literally. If you look, it's not far at all. If these people, if you look at how far it is to come from Africa to America, and you look at how far it is from, let's say, Libya to Italy, man, that's a small, that's right there. That's 3 second style. And Spain, it looks like literally you can swim across that river to get to Spain. You understand what I'm saying? That's probably, I mean, and like I said, so you got France right there, and then you got Portugal. port of gold. Okay, let me see. I can't even see Portugal. Let me see if I can find it. I can't even find Portugal. I don't even see that shit. Nope, I don't see Portugal. Where the fuck is Portugal at? Let me see. Nope, I don't even see Portugal. Damn. No, but even if you look up the United Kingdom, you go up there, Ireland and all that, that's a little further up. But all of that technically is not very far from so-called Africa, right? But nonetheless, though, so you got Columbus and his men. They come here. They was brought here by people who was already coming here, because most of the people who we consider black Europeans, or what we consider as Moors, they was coming back and forth over here. So these people was coming back and forth over here for hundreds of thousands of years. Some of them was originally from here, and they just went over there, right? So look, so Columbus, when Columbus got here, Columbus didn't bring no men, didn't bring no Africans here, none. He ain't bring no Africans. He ain't try to set up no colony. Them people that's in that region right now, all them brown skin complexion people, majority of them people was already there. Now, people show me evidence of so-called Africans coming here, which I don't. I'm just telling you, I'm not qualified to tell you that any Africans came to this country. I don't want to hear about none of that culture shit. I don't want to hear, oh well, some Africans got the same culture as Brazil. Maybe maybe them people that's over there in that continent of Africa came from Brazil. Did you ever think about that? Nah, you ain't ever think about that, because everything that you've been told in reverse, right? So all right, so now Columbus didn't bring no people here. The Portuguese, when Portuguese and people got here, they tried to do the same thing Columbus was doing. Now I'm gonna read a little bit of this. I really don't feel like really reading, but I'm gonna have to, because I got so much stuff to really go over. So all right, so let me go. Because up here, all right. So it said the use of the term Negro black to include person of Native American ancestry in Anglo-North America. North America, yeah. All right. So it said the word black may include all Negroes, but the term Negro does not include all black persons. We are of the opinion that the word white, Negro, mulatto, and black person, whenever they occur in a constitution, must be taken into their generic sense. That the word black person in the 14th section must be taken in contra. Must be taken in contra from white, and necessarily including all races other than Caucasians. Okay, now check this out, y'all. Listen, I don't want to read this right here, but I'm gonna read this part, like the pretty much backup I was saying. The possibility that Native Americans, now we're not Native, we're Aborigine. Native American is a new word. Native is anybody born in a particular place. It say were quite commonly called Negroes. It's very much supported by the Portuguese. Now look, it said, now listen, why are they telling you? Now how ironic is that the Native Americans was called Negroes? How you don't hear that today? So remember, they started in Virginia, where most of our people from, the South, the southern east seaboard, or in that area where most of our people from, wrapped around the Gulf. Central America also was our people. All of them people was our people in Central America and in South America, right? So it's and let me know, it has to be over, even though that they're lying to us. I believe there's almost a 500 million so-called black people who identify as black people living in the Americas, period. It's got to be 500 million of facts. It got to be straight up. It has to be 500 million of, if not more. If there's almost 200,000, they keep on giving you this number, 40,000. Oh, there's only 40,000 African. No, it's not. It can't be over. It has to be over at least 70,000 of us here. Not no people. We're not talking about the other black immigrants. We're talking about people who got ancestry that can go back at least 200 years here in this continent. Okay? So let's keep on going. So it says the possibility that Native Americans was quite commonly called Negroes is very much supported by the Portuguese usage. Now listen to this. During the colonial period, Brazilian Indians were repeatedly referred to as Negroes, Negro de Terras, Negro of the New Lands. Great many examples from the 16th and later century are cited by George Frederick in his analysis of Portuguese sources. And they go to your source, George Frederick's. It's his analysis of Portuguese sources. Say these not have to be repeatedly here, but suffice to say that it was so common that finally in the 1755 a royal decree had to issue the following. Now listen to this. Among the regrettable practices which have resulted in, now this is 1755, 110 years later, remember 110 years later, it's going to be the Emancipation Proclamation. So remember, they came here. They was all important. The Portuguese was here since the 1400s. So we're talking about from 1490. I believe they came like maybe after 1495. I believe they came, or maybe the early 1500s. But 1500 to 1755 is almost 255 years. Now listen, right? Now I say the disparagement of Indians. One prime abuse is unjustified, the scandalous practice of calling them Negroes. Perhaps by doing so, the intent was no other than to induce in them the belief that their origins they have been detained to be slaves of whites, as is generally conceded to be the case of blacks from the coast of Africa. Now, I'm saying generally being the case. Now, I say the director will not permit henceforth that anybody may refer to Indians as Negroes, nor that they themselves may be among themselves as the current case. Now, listen to this. Right? Check this out. Now, the Portuguese usage is extremely significant, not only because African-American or part American slaves could be referred to as Negroes in early shipment records, but also because it very much affects one analysis of population statistics of colonial Brazil. Now he's saying it very much. He's saying that in ignorance of the reader, because he's saying that now a person gonna be like, hold up, man, this affects the analysis of the population statistical of the colonial Brazil by, and let's say whether in fact the category was Negro or mulatto must have often included domestic and enslaved Indians or mixed bloods. Okay, now look. Now, check this out, right? Think about this. And this is for anybody who's coming to this who really don't understand, right? Why do the English call you Negroes? The Negro is not an English word. Okay? So why do why do they call you Negroes? You tell me. Why they call you Negroes is because they took most of the territory from the Spanish. First the Spanish had the West Indies, the Spanish outlet. That's the reason. If you look at the Dominican Republic and all that shit, is that all that's right there. So what they did was they split it up. Now listen to this. I'm gonna keep on going further with this, all right? Because my objection in this video is to let you know that we are not descendants of slaves. We are descendants of American so-called Indians or Aborigines, or the first inhabitants of the people here, who have similarities as far as physiognomies to the so-called African, but we're not African because we was always in America. We ain't come here no 1,500 years. The Olmecs is late to the party because the civilizations in Caruso Bay and Chalupa and all these other places already got images of Negroes there before you find the Olmec. So that's a whole nother story. So I'm not even going to go into that. And the pyramids in Peru are older than the pyramids in Egypt. Okay, so this is for anybody who's coming to my channel who don't pretty much understand where I'm going with this. I'm telling you, we're not descendants of any Africans that was born here. We was enslaved on our own fucking land, and they took our land from us and put us under their classification. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, right? What I completely said was this, right? The same way you've been forced to assimilate, you've been forced to, and think about this. And now I'm just telling y'all this. I know people don't like when I bring up the Moors, but you should be really real talk, whether people appreciate them or not, or if people go along with the system just to go, you still gotta understand that it's brothers who was trying to get you. Because from my understanding is this, right? Andrew Jackson was one of the biggest Indian raiders. How did he have time to get motherfucking Africans? Because most of his slaves was Indians. The same thing with Andrew Jackson. The same thing with George Washington, who we believe the original George Washington died in the Revolutionary War and the Europeans took his fucking name. The original George Washington, we believe, was a Negro, was a fucking straight up Negro. No mixture, no mulatto, no nothing. He was a straight up Negro Indian. Okay, so boom, let's keep it moving, right? Okay, so Andrew Jackson had Indian slaves. They told you Andrew Jackson took on most of the babies, the Indians that he killed, took on their babies and took them back with them. And this is where you get this shit from, bro. Have you ever seen any Native American with the last name Jackson? You have to start using your fucking brain when they deal with this, all right? Why is the Portuguese calling us Negroes? So now you got to rewrap your mind around everything you've been taught, because first of all, you believe that the people in Brazil came from Africa. Okay, and the only reason you believe they came from Africa because they call them Negroes. That's the same thing what we believe in the Caribbean. But today's gonna be the learning for all you so-called niggas who do data and like my man Tone Talks and Yvette Carnell and all of you and all of them. Like I said, share this video, because this people talk about ADOSs and they don't even know what the fuck they talking about. They don't know, have no fucking clue how deep this shit is. They don't have no clue how deep this shit is. You've been forced into assimilation. Andrew Jackson himself, this is what he said. He said you can stay in the South if you assimilate and give us jurisdiction. Okay, what is the whole thing about learning civics about? What's the first thing in civics? Subject matter jurisdiction. Do you have jurisdiction over me? Jurisdiction means control, dominion, dimension, whatever. Do you have that over me? If you don't have jurisdiction, then there's no standing, because I'm not one of your servants. And this is what the fuck Drew Ali was been trying to tell us, or people who coming from his so-called belief system. This is what got us where we at, because assimilation is going to church every week. Assimilation is like, I'm not saying like as far as being a so-called good citizen or good, just a good human being. Let's say fuck it, just a good being. It's a noble human being. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to see nothing happen to nobody. You don't want to hurt nobody. But at the end of the day, you have to really understand what I'm going with it. So check this out. I'm gonna read some more of this, right? And I'm gonna show you something else while I'm on this document right here. Let me see something. Hold on. Is this? Let me see. Let me see something. 12. Let me see. I think it is this one. All right, let me read a little bit more, right? Check this out. All right. This is for all you people who claim you've been to college and you're so educated and you read so much of these scholars and people who telling you, and they forgot to mention out that they enslaved more Indians here than they did so-called Africans they brought here. We're going to get to that, though. We're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to deal with that in a minute. So just relax. All right. So it's say, insofar as the term Negro became synonymous. Listen to this shit, yo. Listen to this. Watch this. Insofar as the term Negro became synonymous with slave or servile status. I don't know what that means, but I'm about to look that shit up, and when I get off of this. And I've glanced over that word plenty of times, and I never decided to look it up, but I'm going to look it up. The energy's telling me. Okay. Now, real quick, let me just jog that down real quick before I forget that. Because sometimes you get caught up reading and then you forget what to come back and look this shit up. So, okay, so that's just say servile status right here, if you can see it. It lost any specific color reference and other a general term of abuse. Darker people prefer to be called Puerto. As a result, it is highly likely that the Spanish also referred to slaves generally as Negros in the Caribbean. Now hold up. If Columbus and his men was calling people Negroes in the Caribbean, that must mean it had to be black people there already. But we're going to get with it. We're going to get into this shit, okay? We're going to get into this because you got to start in the Caribbean to come back to North America, all right? And like I said, like this is gonna be a heavyweight joint. I'm gonna probably rock out probably about another hour, and then I'm gonna do another part later on because I got so much information I can just keep on going with this. Check it out. All right, so it says, let's go back. It is highly likely that the Spanish also referred to the slaves generally as Negroes in the Caribbean, and that the Dutch took over the same practice. Since Negro and Niger was not Dutch words and had no immediately equivalent, it say except swart, donker, or brawn. It say a Dutch, French, Spanish dictionary of 1639 has the following entries for Spanish Negro, Nior, Samble, Oscar, if it no all Fusque, a Fusque, brawn, French, swart, dunkar, brawn. Okay, I guess that must mean Dutch. It say thus Spanish Negro could be translated as dark or brown. Okay, dark or brown. We're both of that. We don't think that when they talk about the brown, black, none of us are black. We're copper color. We're brown. You understand what I'm saying? None of us. Yeah, okay. You could say it's some black people. You got a few people who you seen that had that dark hue or whatever, but most of us are brown. Okay, swart. Undoubtedly, this usage facilitates reference to all slaves as Negroes or Nigers in Dutch language. Moreover, the significant that the Spanish residing the Antwerp in early 16th century. The preparer of the dictionary saw Negro as being translated in a number of ways in both French and Dutch. Okay. Okay, and like I said, man, this is just listen, we ain't even get into this shit yet. We ain't even get into this shit yet. Wait, let me show y'all else something. Let me show you something else, right? Let me show you something else, because I can read this shit right here, man, too, man. It's just so many ways to really skin this motherfucking motherfucker say it's so many different ways to skin a cat and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Look, listen to this right here. Here we go, right here, right. Then this is for the niggas who fall for the 1619 story, right? Because there's two 1619 stories. You get the story of Squanto, which was already in England, which was in Massachusetts, or you know what I'm saying, in that region, and he was a so-called Wampanoag or a Pequot. All right, now we're gonna deal with that too. We're gonna deal with all this shit. All right, my side, it's so much stuff, man. It's ridiculous, man. How people is, man. Even when you believing how many people we think that they bought here, we know that. Look, real quick, this is just for you guys out there. You know, like I said, these are people who put together data. So these are estimations. These are not the Thompson's one estimation. I'm just using that shit. That's it. I'm just using that shit. Let me see something. I'm just using that shit. And like I said, I know that this could be fugazi too, but we could use this in reference to some things. And some things we can use this in reference to. You understand? They're telling you here where mostly the second largest, they're telling you the second largest so-called well, the third largest, because they're saying first is Brazil, then it's Colombia. They say Colombia got more blacks than North America has. Then it's North America. So the first largest so-called population of melanated people outside of what they call Africa, which we know it's not. they say resides within Brazil. The second largest resides in Colombia. They don't even fucking tell you that. In Colombia, my dude. Colombia, what? You know, when they show you these Colombians, they always look like these Mongoloid. But now we know about the Mongoloid invasions in the Americas in the early 1500s. They came here before the so-called. This is where the fucking Mongoloid came from. That's the other piece to the puzzle. Okay, that's the next piece to the puzzle. They ain't come over no ice bridge. They came here, they invaded. They invaded. Now look, right here. This is so-called, this is just for people who like to do data, just to let you know. It's a transatlantic slave trade database voyages. All right, now check this out. Because we got a lot to cover, man. He's got a lot to cover. All right, so look, check this out. They got Europe right here. Embark, got on, disembark, got off. Okay. They're saying this is in Europe. So where these people come from? They saying that they came from Africa. It's a damn lie. Remember, Europe was primarily black people. All them castles in England or wherever they got kings and them castles at over there was built by Aborigines, was built by European Aborigines, man. They was built by them. That's why they always show you all these images of nobles over there. They got plenty of pictures over there in Europe. You see black people walking around, big hats on with feathers. No, it's just all this shit is just coming backwards. Everything that they taught us in reverse, man. Why you think they just Africa now? If they been in Africa, look, think about it like this, right? If the Europeans been in Africa like that, right? They've been in Africa, then why the fuck are they just now getting control? Why the fuck don't Africa got light skin or a lot of people over there that's mixed or whatever? They just getting over there. And a lot of them people, they pushed into that region, into certain parts of Africa. All right. So right here, quick, mainland North America, disembark means got off. Embark, got on, disembark, got off. 388,000, okay? 388,000 so-called Africans came here to right here where we're from, not fuck the diaspora, fuck, I mean, well, I ain't gonna say fuck it literally, but forget the diaspora, forget Central America, forget South America, forget all the conjoining islands, forget all that. We're talking about right here in North America, which they call the United States of America. We're talking about right here. They're saying that they bought 388,746 people here, according to this database system right here in front of your face. Okay? Now, so 388,000 people. And they're claiming that they bought us here in 1619. Look at this, right? Now we already just basically we understand that the Spanish and the Portuguese fought the Indians here Negro. So let's put that in your eyes first. Let's flash that. The Spanish and the Portuguese called you Negroes here, okay? Why don't they call the Indians Negroes today? Why? You tell me. Why don't they call the only people they call a Negro is so-called African or people who we assume to be African? He just said that the word is basically synonymous with the word slave, which this is where most people fuck up at. And you automatically think that the word slave is an African, but we're gonna deal with this shit today. And like I said, I have plenty of videos on this. I've been dealing with this for years. Ain't nobody come, you know. Like I said, it's a lot of people who teach this sort of information, but there's only one Otach in this one. And I ain't trying to toot my own horn, none of that goofy shit. I'm telling you the truth. Everybody their work differently, so you're not going to get all of this shit ran down the same way. Everybody who runs across this, everybody got their own little observation on it, or their own hypothesis, or their own theory or belief, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, now listen to this, right? It say in 1619, because this is when they tell you that they brought Africans here, right? This is when they tell you they brought African. And also remember this too, right? Also remember this, right? Look, Europe was living in the dark ages, man. They was living, right? So now How did they feed any people that they brought over? Because they get showed right here. If we look right here, they tell you 388,000. Now they're gonna tell you all together. Look, listen to this. Look, Now look at how many people they disembarked in Brazil. Okay, now they saying what? Embark 5,532,119 disembark got off. I mean, people who literally made the trip that got off the fucking boat. 4,864,374 people got off in Brazil. It's the largest amount of so-called people that they tell you. You know why? Because them people was already fucking there. I just told you the Portuguese just told you that they was calling them people Negroes. So the Portuguese was already calling people their Negroes, and if you look at the population, you're gonna say, "Well, damn, all these people African." No, it's the biggest lie they ever going to tell us. And the poor sons of the motherfuckers that's over in Africa, and then people we are saying, "Well, damn, the people in Brazil got similar cultures to people over in Africa." Maybe that the Portuguese, and then you have to look. So you gotta look. You gotta understand this too. Syria was a Portuguese colony. Okay? Now people are saying that they found Igbo in Brazil because the Portuguese took people from Brazil to Nigeria or over there on West Africa. This is what happened. If you look, think of it like this, right? Like I just told you. And this is for people who new subscribers or people who gonna run across this or whatever, right? The English did not fuck with the Spanish, Portuguese, and the French. They hated them. They all was warring against each other because the English wanted the Americas and they did not want to share it with none of them. So they was automatically warring. If you look up what's the reason why Europeans came? They came here for riches and they came here for fucking land. They didn't come here to be bringing millions of people across the river. They came here and enslaved people who look like them people over there, and which is us. We are the descendants of POW, prisoners of war. And then all of us was not prisoners of war. This is when you start hearing these stories about how people wasn't slaves, but they basically was being extorted. That's like when you paying taxes right now. The same way that they start making you pay taxes back then. If you had a farm, or if you had let's say your family had a farm and they agreed they was just going to go along with what the Europeans was doing, wasn't going to fight them or violate them, then the Europeans, if you had a farm over there, they just let you keep your farm. You just had to pay fucking fees to to the governor or the government. This is what they was doing. This is what they was doing, and we don't even understand that. And then you look up Negro slave owners who owned slaves. Now they just told you that the Indians was called Negroes. But you niggas say the same thing. Oh, the Cherokees owned slave. Motherfucker, the Cherokees was black. The fuck is Tsaugi or the Anya? These was Negroes. So what are you talking about? And they took the Europeans, assimilated and amalgamated into us, man. This is what happened. It ain't that, oh, they brought people over there. Listen, we prisoners of war, and a lot of people who basically, a lot of motherfuckers who had land and have riches, a lot of people, some of them worked for it and obtained it within the last 100 years. Some people was people who was working with the straight government. And when I say working with the government, it's working in their best hand to make sure that their family stay alive. It's not working on the best situation for all the Aborigines in North America. That's not what people was doing. People seeing this shit coming, saying what they was doing, and they do the same shit they did now. Fuck it, as long as our family okay or whatever, we're gonna have bonds with certain Negroes, but a lot of them motherfuckers have bonds with these Europeans, man. But back to it, man. So they didn't even tell you Africa right here. Because these people came from the Americas, man. That's why, man. I'm talking about the Gold Coast is Africa. Get the fuck. How is the Gold Coast? Listen, think of it like this, right? Think of it like this. And we're gonna just do it like this. All people say Mansa Musa had all the gold in the world. The Europeans knew who Mansa Musa was, obviously, right? So if they knew Mansa Musa had all the gold in the world, why would they come to the Americas to look for gold if Mansa Musa was supposed to have been an African? If Mansa Musa was supposed to have been an African, then would the Europeans come to America? Why would Columbus and his men? Columbus got around. Columbus around. He was he was what they call a seafaring man. Okay, so he wasn't. He got through. He had people on the. Just think of it like this: he had players or people who knew about certain licks, who knew about certain other ways to come up, who knew about certain minerals and certain things to be bartered or sold, so they can make a so they can get money from. They knew about all this stuff. So why would they come to the Americas? Because the people who was with them let them know, oh, yo, where we getting all this gold I got around my shit? Oh, we got that from the Americas. That's where we got it from. We got that from there. We got that from our brothers and sisters right there. You know what I'm saying? And when they seen these people getting off the boat, they thought that was cool because they was with other black Indians and other Aborigines that came from Europe or whatever. So they thought they was cool. So they didn't bother with them. So they was like, oh, okay, they with the brothers, okay, all right. And then later on, they crossed us. But nonetheless, it's a whole nother different story. My main objection to this to tell you that the people in North America are not descendants of African slaves. We are prisoners of war, and some people willfully assimilated into European culture, okay, and gave up the fact that they was Aborigines to wear clothes and adapt a European. That's what the fuck happened. So here, mainland North America, just for people who's on the back of the slow bus, 388,746 people got off in North America. Okay, so now look. Yeah, we're gonna do a part 2 to this too, right? Now check this out. Hey, look, real quick. All right, so it's a conflict between Native Americans and colonists. Listen to this, y'all. It said initially white colonists viewed Native Americans as helpful and friendly. They welcomed Native Americans into their settlements. The colonists willingly engaged in trade with them. They hope to transform the tribe people into civilized Christians. Do you see any Indians running around here forgiving people for the people killing them? So where's these people at? Because assumingly, some of these Indians will have the last name Jefferson, Washington, Jackson. See, we are so dumb. They tell you the word slave and you automatically think it's an African. You don't know that the word slave is an Indian. You don't even fucking know. But check this shit out, though. Let's keep it moving. They hope to transform the tribe people into civilized Christians through their daily contact. Native Americans resisted and resented the colonists' attempt to change them. They refused to conform. You refuse to pull your pants up. You refuse to go to school. You understand? You refuse to do all of this shit that your parents tell you that they make you try to do because they signed that birth certificate and say he's going to be a willing subject to you. You understand? He's going to be a willing subject to you and your civilization. Their refusal to conform to European culture angered the colonists and hostility. Hostility. What the fuck do they call hostiles? Seminoles. The word Seminole also mean hostile. And the colonists and hostilities. Listen to the words they use. Hostilities soon broke out between the two groups. The violence of their confrontations with the Aborigines, fuck natives, resulted in a shift of European attitude toward other races. Now he's trying to say toward other races, toward their races, which they still hate us today. And this is all basically, this is pretty much what's going on. They trying to replace us with so-called immigrants. And I'm not saying not all immigrants or whatever. You know, I fuck with everybody. I fuck my Caribbean brothers. But what they trying to do here in North America is replace us with a lot of African immigrants, a lot of immigrants, some from the UK and other places. They trying to come here and replace us. And in that observation, people like Professor Black Truth, people like the Black Channel, Yvette Carnell, Brother Tone Talks, Tariq Nasheed. It's a lot of other people out here talking, man. I hear him talking. I hear him, man. If you know, in some of my earlier videos, I tell you all skin folks ain't kin folks. I already was talking that immigration shit about how Africans be trying to flip on us. I've been talking that shit. These niggas just getting on it. I've been talking about that long ago. And anybody who watch my videos know that. They know how I am. They know this same shit that these niggas talking, I've been talking about. And I'm not saying that they watch my videos and they got it from me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they watch my video. I don't care. But what I'm saying is black people or aborigines or melanated people who descendants of so-called POW, prisoners of war, they are starting to wake up. They're starting to see, because what happened is this, that Pan-African shit is detrimental to us here in this country. It's detrimental. That shit is a plan. That's some shit that they plan to do by locking us in, thinking all black people was black, and then by shipping niggas like Obama into here, and then use, oh shit, Obama. I said old ladies crying over this nigga, man. You understand? And he ain't no APOW, American prisoner of war. He ain't no POW. That's the real terminology. We ain't no motherfucking slave. Like he said, they trying to make the word Negro synonymous with the word slave. Now, I'm reading this just to let you know. You read between the lines, okay? Because listen, we got anthropologists and paleontologists telling you that the first Americans resemble Africans, Australians, South Pacific Islanders. We also got other anthropologists and archaeologists finding skulls in the Caribbean and saying that these was Negro skulls, extrusive burial mounds, all of this stuff. So if it was already, so them black people just died as much as we multiply, so wasn't no black people here, or it was a small amount. Get the fuck out. The whole population people was black, bro, or what we call melanated or copper color. You understand what I'm saying? The whole fucking Americas, man. The whole Americas. All right. Now remember this one more time, y'all. Okay. They hope to transform the tribe people into civilized Christians. Okay. Like I said, you tell me. Any motherfucking Christian that's running around here, I mean, any mongoloid that's running around here praising Jesus, they did that shit to us. They're talking about us, man. Their refusal to conform to European culture. They wanted you to conform because when they was going to, what they was going to do was they was going to have you conform, and then they was going to start their fuckeries, like take the land from you, or even though just extort you like they was doing, having you pay these tithes and these taxes to them. Okay, and they let you keep your shit. Okay, that's paperwork. That's why people have paperwork that was basically people keeping like freemen and all that shit. When you start hearing about a lot of them freemen, you start saying to yourself, well, hold up, man. You apparently either we was punking them and we made friends with some of them, and we in the process of that, we crossed some of our own people, right? Or we own property and we own shit to produce shit, and they used us and allowed you to basically, you know what I'm saying, assimilate into them. It's only but so many. Listen, when people be like, "Oh, my family wasn't slave," well, I mean, we need to really figure this shit out, because if the thesis is that they came here to take your land and enslave you, you will be under the assumption that they did that to almost everybody that they came in contact with. But some people was allies to them. So that didn't work. So you read between the lines, okay? So, all right, so the anger to conform to European culture and the colonists, and hostility soon broke out between the two groups. The violence of their confrontation with the Aborigines resulted in a shift of European attitude toward other races. It say colonists blamed their failure to assimilate the Native Americans into the culture of racial differences and began to associate all people of color with negative characteristics. Now check this out, y'all. Remember, they came here in the 1500s. So this is for anybody that got that so-called history, black history from school, okay? They came here in the 1500s. They came to Roanoke, or whatever the fuck island in Virginia. Hold on for a second. Yeah, that was good. It's messing up for real. It's buffering. What is it doing now? Let me see something real quick. All right, man. All right, I got you. I got you, yo. I'll send you a link, man. The field. All right, no doubt. Let me hit them. Let me see if they can hear me. Yo, my bad, y'all. That was my man. That was AP. He's telling me that it was buffering, y'all. Look, press one, y'all, if y'all can hear me, man. If everything is good, everything is G. And y'all can still see everything as well. So just press one if everything is go. Press two if everything ain't a go. I don't know. I think this is a little the chat than the actual like when you on. So all right, so I'm just gonna assume that I'm still good. All right, so let's get back to where the fuck I was at. All right, so pretty much this is this. And I use this, man. I use this for in ignorance. This like just looks like some simple, a regular. Well, it's an EDU, so it's coming from an educational source, but it pretty much tells you what they did. Okay, now listen to this, right? So we just already proved. We showed that how many people they brought here. We showed you that the Portuguese and the Spanish referred to Negroes as Indians. We also showed you that 1619, right here, 1619, some 20 Negroes were brought to Virginia. Now listen to this. In 1619, some 20 niggas was brought to Virginia. At least 11 had names of Spanish or probably Spanish characters. Later, they was joined by Negroes and mulattoes with names such as Antonio. We said several people had the name Antonio, John Pedro. These Spanish-derived servants could have well been part of American ancestry. However, no evidence is available except secured from a Spanish vessel. Where was that Spanish vessel coming from? It was coming from the Caribbean. Okay? It was coming from the Caribbean. How did the so-called people, because who the people who did that wasn't, see, you have here like the fuck is this guy name? I can't think of his name, man. Sir Francis Drake and John Hawkins. John Hawkins and them was robbing basically Spanish vessels. They was robbing their Spanish ships, man, for gold. That's what they was doing. They was robbing, and the John Hawkins is the same one that they try to tell you went to West Africa, which that's all bullshit. Why would they, like I said, if they knew Africa had all this gold, why are they in Americas looking for gold? Why are they even wasting their time over here? Why are they wasting their time over here? Because this was a gold coast over here. People try to say, "Oh well, Africa." No, no, no. What do you think? Why do you think Fort Knox is in America, idiots? See, we've been told all this shit backwards, man. All this shit we've been told is backwards, man. Everything we've been told backwards. They tell you that they bought food from Africa. Come on, are you serious, man? In most of these cases, they wasn't even like when we hear Gory Island, like we did videos on Gory Island already. They tell you 20 million people came from Gory Island, right? But do you want to know what the problem with Gory Island is? The problem with Gory Island is that the French had it. Now the English had it. They had it for maybe, they say what, 13 years, from 1660 something until like 1675 or something like that, right? They said that the English so-called area, not the Gory Island. I don't know what they was using that so-called island for at that point in time, but they said that the English had it at that point in time. Now, 1670 something. The English gave it up somehow, or the French took it from them, or whatever. But the French had it from 1675 until 1960 something. Okay, so we know that's like Emancipation Proclamation. They stopped bringing, according to them, Africans over here in 1808. So we saying from the 1600s they didn't have Gory Island. So if the French had Gory Island, how was the French transporting 20 million slaves? Because this is how many slaves they tell you people come out from Gory Island. They say, oh, 20 million slaves came from Gory Island. You understand what I'm saying? They tell you 20 million slaves came from Gory Island. So now if 20 million slaves came from Gory Island, then that must mean that the French colonized these people. Okay, so they now, even when you look on here, when you look onto right here, it only tells you. And like I said, this could be a lie. We don't know ultimately how many people they took from here. Because I'm saying that they took a lot of us. They took a lot. I'm going to say if they did bring any Africans here, which I myself, I cannot prove. I don't, and no one can prove it to me, because as long as the only way that you connecting black people here to Africa, this is what they doing. They're saying that first of all black people that's here in America did not come from Africa. That's number one. Also, you got to take into account that the so-called slaves that was also brought into America was also from America. Did that make anybody understand that? A lot of the slaves that was brought back to the Americas came from the Americas primarily. So we assume that these people coming back in are Africans. But because we didn't know that it was already so-called melanated people here. That's why. That's the reason why we make that problem. That's the reason why we make that. So, like I said, man, when you deal with this, man, they telling you 20 million people came from Gory Island. Embark 12 million 500,000 21 no 521,337. This is embark. Disembarked 10,702,060 no 655 people. All right. So now that must mean if they did have 20 million people, that means 10 million people died. But understand this too. You see, it's a reason. Look. If you look at it, look at this. Europe, it say Europe, mainland America, British Caribbean, French Caribbean, Dutch America, Dutch West Indies. Why are they specifying these group of people? And if you look, all of these people was not, Spanish Americas, Brazil, Africa. Okay, now they're specifying these regions for a reason, right? Now you think that the British and the Dutch and they're gonna go to the French to get slaves? Because if they took 20 million, they claimed 20 million people was in Gory Island, but we only see 10 million people here. But you remember, this is a lot of people that was taken from here. Now, how can we prove this? Oh, Thompson, you're reaching. How you don't know what you're talking about? How could you prove that these people or they brought people from here? There's a lot of different ways to prove that. But first, let's get hit. All right, so we already came to the understanding that the Portuguese and the Spanish, they basically came here. They didn't bring no Africans here. They called the so-called people here Indians, or the Indians here as Negroes. Let's understand that. This is primarily what they did. All right. When we went here, let me see something real quick. All right, so we're gonna jump here. Let me jump here real quick. Just show you this. Let's show you something different. And we pretty much touched on this a couple of different times, but I just like to show this because this pretty much shows you what happened. All right, so 1621. Look, 1621 right here, right? You see this? It say one of the, and this is a reliable source. Look, North American Indian timeline, 1492 to 1999. Listen to that. Excuse me. All right, so right here, one of the first treaties between the colonists and Native Americans was signed at the Plymouth Pilgrim, an act of a peace pact with the Wapanaki tribe in aid of Squanto, an English-speaking Native American. Okay, now remember I told you Squanto came from Europe. He was enslaved here in 1614, taken over there to so-called Europe, and came back in so-called 1619. So you get two 1619 stories. One you get of a Spanish vessel. Okay, look, a Spanish vessel. It's saying in 1619, some 20 Negroes were brought to Virginia. At least 11 had Spanish or probably Spanish characters. Later, they was joined by Negroes, mulattoes, with such names as I just read this. These Spanish-derived servants. Okay, servants. It say no evidence is available. It say that they were largely secured from a captured Spanish vessel. Who captured the Spanish vessel? The English. Like I said, man, you have to pretty much understand this shit, man. That's what happened, man. The English started warring with the, and then and then it's just a lot. 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 So, um, it's just so much stuff, man. You could pretty much read, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, even this right here, it say in 1698, three fugitive Negroes was reported in North Carolina, of whom was one an American. Similarly, a similar list of Negroes imported into Virginia in 1710, 1718 by sea included a list of 69 Indians from mostly no, it's mostly from the Carolinas. Likewise, the list of Negroes brought into New York from 1715 to 1736 include any slaves of probable or stated American ancestry. And like I said, I do this shit, man. But check this shit out. There's so many other ways we could go into this, man. Let's go back to it. All right, so you got your first treaty, okay? 1637, okay? In the colony of Massachusetts, the Pequot was the Indians were the first slaves, but they say, but as they would not endure the yoke. That's all bullshit. They were sent to Bermuda in exchange for Negroes. Now look, listen to this, right? Listen to this. They say they would not endure the yoke. What do they mean they would not endure the yoke? That means they would not go along to get along. But the yoke is also this metal thing that they put on your neck or whatever. But they were sent to Barbados in exchange for Negroes. Now, the Spanish and the English wasn't doing business. So why would they call them Negroes that was already in the Caribbean? Because we already established that the Spanish was already calling the people, the Indians in the Caribbean, Negroes. Do you understand? That don't mean that they was African. That means that they was Negroes, that the Spanish considered them to be Negroes. Because the word Negro don't just mean that you are dark. I mean, the word Negro basically means in bondage or some type of, like you some type of peon or something. That's what that shit really means. That's what it really means. It means like you some type of fucking peon, or you. That's what the word Negro means. That's why they refer to it. That's why earlier in the presentation I explained that to you. All right, give me 1 second. All right, so right here. So all right, so they would not endure the yoke. It say later would bear slavery more patient. The first exchange for Indians for Negroes was made in 1637, the first year of the Pequot War was diligently kept up for many years. Now check this out. Say the Pequots, right? Say the Pequot, even when you go there, go to King Philip War. You're right here, the King Philip War is also dealing with a different tribe, like the Nassau and the Massachusetts, all the Wapanaki, all of them was got pretty much, they get different, they the same family, they just got different names and stuff like that. So when you say the Pequot, right? Okay, so this Exhibit B, Exhibit A, like they do when you go to motherfucking, when you go to trial or something, this Exhibit B for you fucking lying bastards who lying to us all the time, all this time, right? That's what they call Exhibit B. Hold up. I want to go back. I don't even want to go. Let me see something. Send me here. It's Exhibit B, motherfuckers. Look at this. Now, with the exception of this lady right here, all of these people in here are classified. These are all Negroes, okay? You don't see no more Mongols in this tribe. This is what it say about the Eastern Pequot tribal nation. Hold up. The Pequot, hold up. Let me see something. Let me see something. Hold up. Let's go back here. And just remember, this is a source. Look, Native American Indian timeline. It say the Latin Library. Okay, now look, check this out. What did it say? In the colony of Massachusetts, the Pequot Indians were the first slaves, but as they would not endure the yoke, they were sent to the Bermudas, the Bermudas in exchange for Negroes, right? So that's telling you that they first. Now listen, now people would say, well, oh, they look like that because they was mixed with blacks or Africans, right? Now check this out. Now let's deal with that too. How many Africans they claim, boy? They say, oh, it was 300. So they bought 388,746 Africans here to North America. Never mind the diaspora, never mind all that other shit, because that people got to sort that shit out on their own, because all of these are all different countries that's in Europe. I speak English. I don't speak French. I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak no other language. I speak English. Okay, or what we assume to be English, or whatever you want to call it, the Queens, Kings, whatever. Okay, this is what we speak here in North America. Even though, yeah, they make Spanish a second requirement, we have other groups of people here who speak other languages, but primarily before 1965, when they let a lot of immigrants come here, primarily the language was English. Okay, I speak English. I only can speak for the people who came here and did what they did to us here. Okay, they claim they brought 388,000 people here, right? But check this shit out. Let me see something. Where is it at? This one. It's right here. Here it go. After I touch on this, I'm going to end this one, and I'm going to do another one later on. Now check this out. It's a colonial enslavement. Now check this out. Now this is basically how blacks are prisoners of war, and some of us, like I said, some of us assimilated under threat, distress, and coercion. You understand? Threat, duress, and coercion. This is how we became who we are today, with the title of black under them three terms right there. Sometimes it was under war, yes, but mainly it was under threat, duress, and coercion, the same way you get treated when you are in court today. Okay, they've made you assimilate, or they was going to take your shit. That's it. Or you was going to fight to the death. You'd have been the toughest nigga. You just would have been a dead nigga. Okay, just because for some reason we wasn't winning, people selling out. And we had so many people doing that same thing what we talk about. We had more people agreeing to get along with them and taking their little gifts that they give us, like guns or the fire sticks and like the little other trinkets that they was giving us. I said, man, fuck it, man. Bob's our guy. Yeah, let Bob stay or whatever. And meanwhile, we like, nah, tell Bob to go home. Yo, we getting tired of these niggas, man. Tell them niggas go home. And then the same shit, the same, we start fighting, then they start selling us out, and then it become a local thing to do or whatever. Then you got other blacks that they coming across saying, well, look, if you, listen, if you give us a certain amount of hits, such and such, you can stay. If you don't, if you refuse to pick it, you have people like, what? We're not paying you shit. Are you out of your mind? We're not paying you Nathan. Nathan, you're getting Nathan. No, we're not. Are you serious? Give you this, or I remember when you first got here and we allowed you to stay here, but now you're telling me I have to go? Really? And this is the slimy, griminess shit that was going on. But like I said, not ADOS, APOW, or A assimilation, or A, however you want to call it, because a lot of us assimilated, man. A lot of people assimilated. Now, if you want to go back and get your culture now, say that we was forced to assimilate, yeah, we can do that. But all of us didn't have the same condition as we may think. We wasn't under the same condition. We assumed that we was. We assumed the same condition. But check this out, right? All right, so just one more time, y'all. I'm gonna flash this real quick. Mainland North America, and like I said, I'm not saying this shit is 100% true, but somebody took down the time to draw down some numbers or what they might think what happened, and it's using them. If later on, maybe some years from now, more numbers come out, I'll use that too. But I cannot just like I can't think of nothing without having nothing. Like it's hard to because you don't get too many sources or too many sources. Like even when you is looking at the historical records and all that, all they say is Negroes on it. They don't say no fucking Africans. So you don't know where these people coming from. All the historical records that I've seen, none of this stuff say nothing about any Africans. Now, I've spoken to some people who say that they have came across records that said Africans, but to my best knowledge, I have never. You understand? I've never. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, though, 388,000, this is what they giving us. This is basically .org. So this is an organization or whatever. And we know that people is out there, but check this out, though. You got me. You got the Thompsons one. So you take down this information. You use this shit however you want to use it. I ain't, like I said, at the end of the day, as long as your brothers and sisters, if you can donate, it's a documentary called Culture Freedom, Hidden Cultures of America. Basically Black Indians, showing you that we was here already. It wasn't no like we say, oh, it was like, because when people tell you that we was here, people assume, oh, it was only a small amount of you here. No, they only bought 388,000. This is the number that they showing you. Okay, now I'm gonna prove this too right here because I got this too. I got the census. Okay, now check this out, and we're gonna deal with this too, right? Because we're in Charleston, North Carolina, right here, right? Now check this out. I'm gonna show you that they enslaved Indians in Charleston, North Carolina, right? But on the census, what are they classified as? Here go the American Indian race right here, and I'm gonna show you this. But let's go back. So we got this. We looked over this. It's 388,000. Then we go here. We go to an article, Brown University, news from Brown. Okay. You know, you see who conducted it. Look, you got number, you got, you know what I'm saying? Boom, Brown University. All right. So, like I said, this is good research right here, and I'm going to use it. All right. So, to hell with anybody else, and this is for all you so-called Black scholars and people who always think we African and want to be always like, you know, dreadlocks is American. It's not African. It's not African. I'm sorry. Now look, Native American slavery is a piece of history no, it's a piece of history of slavery has been glossed over. This is the guy who reading, his name is Linford D. Fisher. Okay, he said between 1492 and 1880, between 2 to 5 million Native Americans was enslaved in America. In addition to 12, now look, it's saying in addition to 12 million Africans. But guess what, motherfuckers? We know that it was already black people here. Okay, and they try to tell you where these 5 million Native Americans and where the rest of them was at. Oh yeah, they all died. Oh, none of them survived. They all died. And then they brought in Africans. You understand what I'm saying? But then when you read shit like this, see, I think I'll show y'all this. Boom. Here we go right here. All right. So let's say then from we know what this is, man. Y'all already know what this shit is, man. You know, most of the people who come in, y'all already know what this is. And like I said, this is a article from the Smithsonian Institute. I just put it on my obviously my PowerPoint right here. But basically it tells you right here. It say this is the same article. Here go the link, SmithsonianMagazine.com. It say, but there lies a puzzle. Modern Native American closely resemble people of China, Korea, Japan, but the older skeletons do not. It say archaeologists and paleontologists. Like I said, I like to use this because I'm not none of this shit. But I can't put together data and I can't do observations and I can do all of that shit. And I'm a nigga from the ghetto. I'm cursing, yes, but guess what? Guess what? I am a researcher because I'm a official holistic nutritionist as well as a Western nutritionist. I research all the time. So, like I said, and I already do the qualitative, empirical, all of that shit. I already know about all that. You know, like I said, and then a funny thing is that statistic. I had to take a class when I was getting this so-called fucking paper or whatever degree for Western nutrition, and I had a class 304. 304 was basically a research class, and you had to do basically frequencies. Like I said, you had to do frequencies. You had to do all that shit, surveys, frequencies. You had to, you know what I'm saying? We had to work. We was working with Excel. I ain't never know how to do none of that stuff. I just came home from prison. I'm not gonna lie to you. I came home from prison, went straight, went to school or whatever, ain't looked back. You know what I'm saying? So you want to say, oh, is this one of them niggas who went? Yeah, I did. I was a product of my environment. When I was young, drugs was being glorified. And as a result of being glorified, it was easily excessive in my neighborhood. Therefore, I indulged in it because it was fast money. Okay, I got caught. I ain't gonna say pay my debt to society because I ain't do nothing. There's no motherfucking corpus delicti. I mean, there's no body of proof. I mean, there's no one who said I did anything to them. No one has a physical complaint. The people who have the fucking complaint on me is the motherfucking the people who basically, you know what I'm saying? We know you know the reason why the municipalities and government been constructed to maintain individual rights. So as a result of maintaining individual rights is you basically are protecting people from other people, meaning that people who, you know, can be violent or rob you for whatever you want to take you for. You have the law, you can file a complaint. Then you have someone who's going to basically protect you. But that's as far as that go. Now, like I said, I sold drugs probably, you know, like probably made some influential mistakes as far as some of my, you know, my own people, because the majority of time the people doing it is mainly black, and it was like Puerto Ricans or whatever. But as the end result was, I just was a business. I did it like I was a businessman. I was wrong, hurt my community, but hopefully the works I'm doing now, I can make good for it. Like I said, go talk to the kids. I ain't influencing the lifestyle that I once lived. You know what I'm saying? I ain't influencing it. I ain't telling nobody, yeah, that's the right thing to be doing, or hurting anybody. Nada. I'm strictly for this link. All right. So like I said, let's get back to it. All right. So all right. So this is James Chatter. So I give you a little rundown on a little my bio or a little, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not an archaeologist, I'm not a paleontologist, but James Chatter is lead author in studies of owner of applied paleosciences. It's a research consulting service in Bethel, Washington. Okay. Now he said modern. Why would he say modern Native Americans closely resemble? What modern is means new, right? Okay, so let's see what the oldest one. He said tiny number of early American specimens discovered so far have smaller and shorter faces, longer and narrower skulls. And later Native Americans more closely resemble the people of modern Africa, Australia, and South Pacific Islands. This have led speculations perhaps that the first Native Americans came from different homeland. Now hold that thought. South Pacific, all right? Now this was something I was going to do before. Look, this was something I was going to do before. I already had this. This is a PowerPoint that I already got. I got all this shit together. So this is a presentation I was going to do. All right, so look. Now, I ain't going to say all these motherfuckers look like the majority of these motherfuckers like people in the Caribbean. These are like Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and people in the South Caribbean. And this is in the Pacific. Okay, this is in the motherfucking Pacific, right? Now look at this nigga right here. Look at this nigga right here. Look. It's a motherfucking nigga right here, man. And this is the Pacific Island. This is South Pacific, man. And look at this brother right here. Look. This is a motherfucking nigga, man. This is your uncle. It's your Uncle Charles and shit. Nigga come home drunk. You know who that nigga is. Look, nigga, your cousin shit. Look. But anyway, South Pacific Islanders, okay? So if you can't now look, it's Africa. You got three choices here. You got three different regions where he's trying to give you a description of what the people of first Americans look like. Okay, he got three different so-called land masses that got melanin people that he's giving you a so-called. He giving you three different conclusions. Africa, we already know what the people of Africa look like. People Australia, I'm not too clear with that because I don't see no people here who look like Australians. Our Australians got a certain look. Hair, even with the hair, man, we ain't even got that shit. Like some people, we got good hair if we let it get long, and if you put oil and everything in it, yeah, your hair can be right, but not the way that their shit look. And we don't have the facial structure like some of us do, but some of us don't. You know what I'm saying? Look at a brother like Maxwell. He got the strong facial features like fucking like the Australian. It ain't a lot of black people who do got them facial features like that. So you gotta really look at it just from observation. Like if we doing the study, we gotta get some type of data to where we done did some type of research. And like I said, my research and culture freedom, where I'm walking around asking random so-called people who classified as African Americans what tribe they from, and like I said, 9 out of 10 people tell me, and that's the statistics that I'm going to put in it too. You understand? But nonetheless, though, he gave you three different regions, man: Africa, Australia, and the South Pacific Islands. So you tell me. So we are APOWs, despite what people may think. And like I said, so say right here, 2 to 5 million. This is the number that they give you, okay? 2 to 5 million, all right? Then it's telling you right here, look, this I can't fill up with war. I ain't gonna talk about that. It say during the war, New England colonies routinely shipped Native Americans as slaves to Barbados, Bermuda, and Jamaica, and the Azores. Spanish, it say Tanzania and Africa. Now, listen. 2 to 5 million people is a lot of people where they will have a certain looking identity, and there will be some type of people that resemblance left. Right? We already touched on the Pequot, showed you what the Pequots look, undoubtedly. This is the motherfucking Pequot. All these people in here can be a member of my family, minus the European. Okay, if you look good, I'm not gonna fucking freeze it, open the screen up, or whatever you need to do. These are the people that they're telling you, okay? And here go the older one, but this, but look, these are all motherfucking Negroes. Look at all the people in the front right here. Now in the back, you see I didn't say mongoloids or nothing, but you do see some mulatto looking people, of people that was a resemblance. Now a lot of these people also was pushed further in. So there's a lot of different stories with this though. But this is the modern. Look at this. And look at the people right here. Now we know here, right here, right? Now we can say, we can look at some of these people up here and say some of these people might got European in them. You know, I mean, we could be truthfully about it. You understand? But we know that they Negro. Now she's a straight European right here. Where the hell she come from? I hope the brother didn't marry her. Like, you know, I don't know. But nonetheless though, you know, these are all brothers, these are all people classified as Negro. You understand what I'm saying? All people class her, him, all of it's minus the European right here. And these are the first people who took the slaves. And we find out that 2 to 5 million Native Americans was enslaved in America. What? And they tell you additional 12. They try to make the number of Africans bigger. Listen, additional 1.2 million African slaves when we know that that's not true, because here they only brought 380,000 people here. So that's a small number of that, because it's all confusion. They're shipping people off from here, mixing them up with the people over there. Just imagine if you already think that the so-called Indians resemble Africans. I just read a motherfucking archaeologist who just told you that. He told you that you resemble either African or Australia or South Pacific Islanders. You already know what African and Australia look like. I showed you the South Pacific Islanders. It's, you know what I'm saying? It should not be nothing up left for discussion. But check this out though. When we really dig deep, we start looking, all right, we got other archaeologists that you know, it's a lot of this stuff is like I did it plenty of times. But when you go into, let me see something. Now look, they just showed you how, well, let's look back at it one more time. This is the number they gave you. So they're gonna say 2 to 5.5 million. We know that the number's bigger than that. We know that the number's bigger than that. We know that. We know that they was not bringing Africans here, because the people that they telling you from Brazil was already there. So that's to eliminate all that from the gate. That's to eliminate all that. That's to eliminate all that. The people from Brazil, a lot of them was taken over to Africa, man. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of people in Brazil, because why would the Portuguese call them Negroes? They ain't say that they bought Negroes from Africa and they mixed in with them and they start calling them Negroes. He said, no, when we got there, we called these people Negroes. But there's only one group of people who they refer to as Negroes. And then you find out that they was scratching people names and they was calling you colored and Negro. It was when you was trying to be Indian, or they was like, nah, you're a colored or you're a Negro, and they putting this in your birth certificate. A lot of people say, oh, the colored people will be more like light-skinned people. Or no, that's not true. My father black as hell. My father brown skin as hell, and he got colored on his birth certificate, and all his brothers. And some of them got Negro color. Some of them like they switching up on them. You understand what I'm saying? But this right here, this is big right here, because it's saying 2 to 5 million people. All right. Now, like I said, even so, when you go here to a place like Charleston, you can find. Let me say something. Let me see. Now look. All right, so let me see something real quick. Where was that? All right, so look, this is now that's saying African Passage, Low Country, adaptation, right? Now this is another EDU right here, right? So look, and the reason why I say it's an EDU, because them colleges don't be playing. Like as far as like even if the information is off, they don't be playing with like source and shit. Like they don't play with that shit. That's your sourcing and all that shit gotta be up to par. You know what I'm saying? They're not really playing around with none of that shit. They won't let you produce nothing, nothing on their website unless it's something that has some standing or some, you know, significant. It has some substance to it. Okay, like I said, all this stuff that we reading is not 100, but we'll find out, you know what I'm saying, that we can get information of what we already think from other people opinion, because they're not going to tell us our story in full. We have to read and get sources and start piecing this shit together. Okay, now like I said, I was on Charleston. Okay, we know everybody always talk about the African Charleston shit. No, they had Indian slaves in Charleston. They had more Indian slaves in Charleston than they had Africans. More. And like I said, there's so many different scenarios to this shit. Okay? There's so many different scenarios to this shit, bro. You had, like I said, you had people who was free, or what we call free, but were just probably paying dues, you know what I'm saying, to the so-called government or whatever. And like they even who was trying to still consume that they was Indians. That's the reason why you know you're Indian. Because they was just changing the shit on the paper and your family was telling you. And you know, like I said, man, like this thing is serious, man. Because even when people run around here with that term ADOS, they don't know. Like you trying to say, and one thing, like I said, I watched Super Slide video or whatever. He beat me to the punch. Or whatever. He had a little video talking about Aborigines versus POWs or whatever. No, I've been saying POWs, so I'm not trying to rock off nothing. I've been was going to do a video on this, and I ain't got to put that shit out there. I can just say fuck it, I did the video and not give a shout out to nobody. But the brother did it, and one thing I liked what he said was, in the Geneva Convention, we know a lot of these so-called rules and everything. These people don't obey bomb, especially when it come to us. They fucking keep moving the goalposts back. So a lot of this shit that apply to other groups of people, when it comes down to so-called Negroes in America, it don't apply to, especially us. You understand what I'm saying? But nonetheless, though, he said that a POW will get more. You would get an opportunity. It would be a better chance you get reparations. Now, people not running around here just waiting for reparations. You got people work every day, save their money, and whatever. But like, if these people was really to give you some land, and you understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and it's fucked up because you have to say these people will be giving you something that's yours. But that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. What you want to say? You don't want it? You want to punch them in the face and then take it? What do you want? Like, you know what I'm saying? But however you go, that people who's getting the momentum and they saying that they are ADOS or whatever, and I'm saying that they are APOWs, which we are the real Americans. But I'm just trying to explain that shit to people, because people don't always understand it. They think that we try to say we Indians, that we trying to be like them people over there. The people, listen, the original Indians do not have any Indian culture left, and we was not the same Indians practicing the shit that they show you these modern day Indians was practicing. That's not what we was doing. We was playing sports. We was still playing gambling games. We probably was still boxing and smack boxing with one another. We was doing all that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we protected our people up into a certain point. And like I said, that's where you start getting these raiders. You start getting like people like the West, those people who was hired Indians that was hired to basically camp out your shit and overthrow it and bondage people. So like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on here that people don't even know, people don't even have the idea about. But like I said, for the main point, I'm going to end this video right here. Later on, I'm going to do a heavyweight build on it or whatever. But I'm going to set a time for it, so I'm going to give people time to come in if they want to check it out. But definitely, I'm going to do another build probably tonight around like 9:30 or whatever. Me and brother AP probably Billman or whatever. But for the nonetheless though, I'm gonna end this video right here. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Please support Culture Freedom, hitting Coaches of America, um, Black Indians. Please support it, you know what I'm saying? Because that's, like I said, man, we got to do something for us, man. And like I said, the support that I really wish I can get, like in where I live at, they got all these dilapidated houses and like just prime real estate, you know what I'm saying? Like real talk, like stuff you can build up, flip them, or whatever you choose to do with them, man. You know, if there's anybody out there, you know what I'm saying, like probably like a athlete or actor who want to donate and something anonymous to start like buying some of these properties or whatever, hit me up at chiefautochthon. My email is in the description or whatever. Also, all my other information as far as like my Cash App, my PayPal, and also my t-shirt spring account. I can't post none of that stuff on my channel because my channel is not monetized. So they demonetize my channel, but it's all G though. I do this for the love. I ain't never plan on doing this or ever asking anybody for no donations, but I see that this so-called documentary is expensive, and it's a lot more expensive than I thought it was, but it's all good. This shit's still gonna get done or whatever. It might just take me a little bit more time, but I'm doing it. So I'm letting y'all know I ain't abandoned the original mission, but however it is, you know, it's just taking a little longer. But with that being said, like I said, there's a lot of, and I see a lot of these. See what they was doing was this too. Real quick, I don't know if that's going to be funny. What they was a lot of these areas where shit was going down at were drug areas where people used to hustle and all that, right? So people not hustling right there. So what's happening? These motherfuckers come swoop right back in. The Jews and shit. And fucking now these Mexicans doing it. You know what I'm saying? They come swooping these areas where they got buildings at, where these nice buildings. Only thing they need probably a couple $100,000, fix them up. And they got mad use in them. Ain't nobody hanging out the house. Ain't nobody hanging in front of the buildings or none of that stuff. Because that's originally why they didn't fix them up, because a lot of them buildings niggas was stashing their shit up in there and running up in and out of there, and you know, it just was a problem where they shut it down. And a lot of these areas, they got houses and everything, man. These people coming in here, repairing them, and just going for what they know. So, like I said, man, if anybody, you know, anybody got any contributions, they want to, you know, because this is what black people supposed to be doing, man. Most of these are Aborigines or Indians or whatever, because at the end of the day, a lot of these areas was black areas, or what we assumed to be black areas. These brothers and sisters got up, left it, left from down, moved to be around these Europeans, and that was that. We never heard nothing else from them. So, like I said, at the end of the day, that's pretty much, you know what I'm saying, like what's going on. And this is how they even gentrify. I'm starting to see my area. I'm starting to see areas gentrified that I never thought would be gentrified, really. So this is pretty much the game. So just on the note or whatever, though. But it's APOW, it's American Prisoners of War. None of us are descendants of any so-called slaves or so-called African slaves. There is no whole African here. If they, I just told you they're assimilated. If they saying they giving you 5.5, the high end, 5.5 people, that outnumbers 380,000 by at least like 10 times, 12 times, 13 times. So that's 13. For every one so-called African, there was 13 so-called Indian slaves on that plantation. So what would that make you more of? What would that make you more? There's no whole Africans here. There's no whole Africans here. None. Because they mixed in with the Aborigines, if they brought any here. Like I said, we can't really prove it because of the situation, because of the confusion that they was taking people to the Caribbean and bringing them back. I just read that they was bringing you back here. So like I said, I ain't keep on rambling, whatever. Stop it here. Love and light to everybody. Like I said, I'll be back a couple hours, whatever, and we'll finish it up. All right. So with that being said, all the Aborigines. Stop sharing my screen. Peace. Peace to everybody. Peace.